Hello, this is another tutorial. This one is on a tool called Edshelf. So you can get to it at www.edshelf.com. And this is not really an app itself that will specifically help you do something to engage your students. It's really a repository for building a learning community that you can share with other faculty and other faculty can share with you, but it's a repository for gathering together various types of apps that you can use in an education setting. You can go out and search to try to find things that you don't even know exist. You can find reviews from other instructors as to how they use them. You can browse by a number of different types of topics. You could browse by subject. You can browse by grade level. You can browse for free apps versus apps that have a little bit of cost to them, and so forth. So Edshelf basically reviews and recommends tools for educators, allows you to find edtech tools for specific needs. So to look at our splash page here, Edshelf, when you first get to this page, you do not have to, unless you're going to store things here. If you just want to go and use it to search, you don't have to create an account. But if you'd like to create your own page, if you will, or what they call a shelf, you can create a shelf. Think of it like a bookcase or a bookshelf that contains the most frequent apps that you may use either overall in your teaching, or you might create different shelves based on certain types of activities or learning experiences that you want to have. So there might be a shelf for assessment. There might be a shelf for presentations in which you put different apps on there. The dashboard just shows you your particular set of shelves. That's your account. Search tool, just as the name would imply, allows you to search for different types of apps that are out there, and we'll show you that. And then add tool allows you to add an app that you know of or you've discovered, and maybe it's not in here. You can go ahead and add it to this entire repository of apps that have been added by other educators, and then create a shelf when you're ready to do that. So we're going to do that in a second, but just want to show you some of the things here on the splash page. Featured tools are just some things that have become popular, or there's a lot of people looking at them. Featured shelves, these are some things that have been created by other instructors and shared with a group of people, and as you can see, they have titles for what they're all about. Recently approved apps and recently created collections, and so you can check out any of these to determine if they have anything that you want. Again, you don't need to create an account if all you're going to do is go use it for kind of like a library of apps, and you can read reviews and so forth and find out what specific subjects and ways they're being used for. That's fine. But if you are going to want to create your own shelf, in other words, create your own repository of apps so that you can go back to them on a regular basis, and maybe even separate them by type of learning experience, then you may want to create your own shelf. So let's just walk through showing you how to do that. So I'm going to click on Create Shelf, and I'm going to give my shelf a title. So maybe this one's going to be Formative Assessment. I can give it a description. And then I'm good to go there. I don't have to put a tag in, but from the perspective of searchables, if people are going to want to search by type, tags can help. Public or private, if you mark it as private, you're the only one who can see it. It does create a link. Public allows it to be part of this repository, so I'm going to make mine public. Now I have some choices here. I can filter by platform, so this is going to tell you what types of devices this will work with. A web-based platform is something that a lot of different devices can access. You can have a specific desktop only, so this would be a desktop or a laptop. various types of Androids and Apple products if that's what you want. Oftentimes a web-based platform also has a mobile device app for both the iOS and the Android system, so you're good to go there. So it's just some things to concern yourself with, and you may want to make that kind of decision and have that be kind of a filter to narrow down your search. Subject, got a whole bunch of different subjects: accounting, algebra, American English, anatomy, business, chemistry, computers, economics, various types of foreign languages in there, geography. Okay, so you got a number of different subjects there that can also help you filter. You can also look for free versus paid. Obviously, free is going to be very popular, but sometimes some paid ones are, $5 a year, 99 cents a month or whatever. So sometimes it's worth looking at. You don't necessarily have to do anything with them. But sometimes if there's a particular app that you really like, they may have a paid version of that same app that's very reasonable, and it actually creates some nice efficiencies for you, gives you some additional tools or additional functionality that would be very valuable for you. Again, categories, just another way to search that. So I'm going to, I have some in my head that I'm going to use. You can also search by how popular some of these things are or when they were added. So again, I've chosen formative assessment as the shelf that I'm going to create. And so there's some apps that are listed here, just kind of like on the splash page. If there's anything that I feel that I would like to have, I can just click on it and drag it into this tool tray here, and I can start creating mine. So I'm going to grab Quizlet, I'm going to grab the Socrative app, maybe I'm going to grab Brain Pop. So I have a few that I'm aware of that are going to work for me that were listed here. And maybe there's one that I'd like that I do not see. I happen to know one called Kahoot, and maybe I'd like to add that. So I'm just going to type that in here, the search for, and it'll come up with that one. So now I can add that one in. Okay. I can drag them and put them in any order that I'd like to put them in if that's what I'd like to do. I also have the ability to eliminate any of them just by clicking on the red X. So if I have this set the way I want to, I can hit Create Shelf. And I now have my shelf of the apps that I'm going to look for. I have different ways that I can put them together. I can create notes for each one of these. So if I couldn't quite remember the differences between all these, or probably what's more practical and more valuable would be if I want to create just a brief note for anybody that might actually find my particular shelf in this repository, because this is actually a learning community for EdTech apps. So if I wanted to kind of share a little bit about this app that I'm familiar with, in case somebody who's finding my shelf, who's looking at this, may not know exactly what that is. So I could go ahead and I can just type some notes in it. I'm going to go back to the grid format as well. You have some additional information down here, like this first number here shows you the number of reviews about this particular app, the number of other shelves that have used this app. So popularity sometimes can give you an idea of a lot of people are finding some uses, and these are the individual people. So you can find out, who curated that particular app. A number of different ways to share this. You can print out this page, if you will, with the URLs that contain the URLs for these specific apps. You can have them with QR codes, so somebody can just scan the QR code with a QR reader, and that will pull that information right into their device. And here is the embed code in case you wanted to put this on a website, that type of a thing. So you have that good to go. And I'm going to show you my dashboard now, because my dashboard I now have a shelf created. I also can follow specific shelves so that anytime something new pops up, and I can also review some particular tools, and then this is a list again if I wanted to add a particular tool to the shelf. So there's a lot of different things I can do. If I want to get back to that spot I was at the beginning, I just click on I guess I got to go back to my dashboard. Okay, then I will create another shelf, which will take me to that particular spot. Again, give it a title and do my searching. So maybe I wanted to create one called presentations, and I could give it a description again if I wanted, and maybe I'll mark this one private because I'm still working on it. I'm going to do Prezi, Edu Creations, Khan Academy, explain everything, TED. Okay, so, maybe that's another one that I create. And again, just create the shelf when I'm done. So again, just a great way, not a specific tool here, but this particular website itself allows you to create a repository and search a repository of a bunch of edtech apps that have already been gathered and put together by a lot of different search filters, things like subject matter and grade level and whether or not they're free and what types of devices that they will work on. So definitely a nice tool to start searching for different ways to engage students with technology in your classroom. You can create your own, whether I showed you one here for presentations, there's formative assessment, maybe you got some flipped classroom apps that work real well when you're doing that kind of a thing. So all kinds of different things you can create. You can edit this thing all the time. You can add more and delete, again, things out of here. So you can put together whatever it is that you'd like to put it together for, and for whatever your purposes are. And then again, the beauty of this is you get to see what a lot of other faculty have used. You get to read reviews, find out what they're using them for, how functional things are, to determine whether or not this is something, if you're not aware of what it is, you might be able to find something that you didn't know exist that would be a great way for you to engage with your students in your classroom. Thanks.